back to Midcap Radar. So as we move into the school reopening time, let's get some perspective on how education-focused companies expect this academic year to be financially. So the stock on our radar and to discuss their future prospects and detail their past performance is Z-Learn. We're now joined by Mr. KVS Seshasai, who is the CEO of Z-Learn. Thanks a lot for joining in, Mr. Seshasai. First up, the top-line growth for the company in FY15 has been close to around 5 to 6%. Any particular reason for this growth to come down, and how do you expect this to be in FY16?
Yeah, thank you for having me on the show. Z-Learn had a very good year last year. Specifically with respect to your question about top line has growth looks muted because of the fact that the top line for the 2 years are not strictly comparable. Last year we had ZQ as part of Z-Learn Limited. Last year. Last year we shifted the operations of ZQ from Z-Learn into Z Entertainment Enterprises Limited. So to that extent there's a base effect, and because of that the results are not strictly comparable. Underlying business growth of schools and preschools is at around 16%, which is a pretty strong growth given the current market environments.
Okay, could you tell us for this new academic year then, where are you expecting to see the highest enrollments? Would it be in your preschool, would it be in your K-12, or maybe in your vocational training segment?
Okay, so the preschool segment is the largest contributor to our revenue on an overall basis. Currently we have about 1,400 preschools across the country, and last year we had about close to 110,000 children studying in our preschools. So that will continue to be the biggest segment for us in the current financial year also. We've expanded our school network. We've added about 12 more schools. So currently we are close to 95 schools across the country. That will be the second biggest segment for us in terms of enrollments. And then we have the Z Institute of Creative Arts and Z Institute of Media Arts, where we've introduced both long-term degree courses as well as short-term certificate and diploma courses, and that will be the third segment where we expect to see enrollments picking up in the current admission season.
All right, this is with regards to your Mount Libera school. Now, average capacity per school is about 1,800 students, but new enrollments have been just about 300 to 350 students. So, how much do you expect it to be going further?
Well, the average capacity, you're right, is 1,800 per school. What we need to keep in mind as far as the school business is concerned is that enrollments depend upon the age of the school. The average age of our schools is between 3 to 4 years old, and the current average enrollment at our schools is close to 400. And what we expect to see going forward is that 400 jumping to anywhere between 600 to 750 over the course of the next 2 years. So enrollments is really related to the age of the school. And this is unlike preschool, this is a business which we started in 2008. So the oldest school that we have is just about 7 years old. It's a school based in Patna, which is 2,300 students. And we've seen this year a couple of schools cross the 1,000 mark. And we're seeing very strong growth. In fact, just to give you the numbers for the last year, our growth in enrollments for the financial year in the K-12 schools was 38% over the last year.
Okay. What is your CapEx lined up for this year?
So currently we operate on an asset-light model because we primarily follow the partnering route. So all our preschools are franchised. So we do not require a lot of capital for expanding in the preschool segment.
What are the number of franchises that will increase in this year as compared to the previous year?
Okay, so just to do a quick recap of our performance in the last financial year, every year preceding the last financial year, we've been signing on an average of anywhere between 300 to 350 new preschools. In this last financial year, for the first time, we saw a very, very strong traction and a lot of strong demand for kidsy preschools. We managed to sign for the first time 500 plus new preschools, and we'll expect to see more than 60 to 70% of them get operationalized in the current financial year.
All right.
Similarly, we've signed close to 30 new schools in the last financial year, and we'll expect to see anywhere between 12 to 15 new schools opening in the current financial year.
All right, Mr. Seshasai, a word about your growth drivers. Going forward, your growth, if you could break down your growth into three parts for us. One is how will the growth be contributed by? One, more schools, second, more students, and third, higher fees. So how will this play out, and what will be the contribution of each of these three constituents in the growth going forward? Higher schools, more students, or higher fees?
So I can, So, like I said earlier, we are seeing very strong demand for new Kidsy franchisees in the market. So we expect to sign at least 500 more new franchisees in the current financial year, and we will expect to see a very strong growth coming from the preschool segment, both in terms of new schools, new preschools, as well as growth. From an enrollment growth perspective, in preschools last year we had an 18% growth in enrollments. So that's where the growth in the preschool segment is going to come from. We added close to 250 new preschools last year. We'll expect to do better than that this year, and I'm expecting anywhere upwards of 300 new preschools to be added in the current financial year.
Okay.
As far as schools are concerned, I mentioned 38% growth in enrollments last year. We'll expect to see a similar percent growth in enrollment this year also, and we expect to add at least another 15 new K-12 schools in the current financial year.
Okay, fair enough. So we leave it on that note. Thanks very much for joining in and talking to us. So that's the word coming in from Z-Learn, but we've completely run out of time on Midcap Radar. So that's all from us. Your stocks once we're back.